I guess I stand before you a picture of non-sophistication from the fens of Lincolnshire. I mean, I'm pleased I'm not sophisticated, and probably just to emphasise how unsophisticated I am, I didn't actually realise I was being sold anything until someone told me that there was a mis-selling of these products. And then it dawned on me, bit by bit, that actually what was going on here, as Mark's just pointed out, was the banks more or less looking after their own interests, and I think putting my interests at the back of the line. I operate a small family farm, 350 acres, near Stamford in South Lincolnshire. Been in partnership with my dad, who's 75 at the time. The office is a 20-foot porter cabin beside an old barn, a few old tractors in there. When I came back to the farm, we decided we were going to make a job of converting our old farm buildings into offices. So I undertook a conversion of 6,000 square feet of offices, which actually, took a huge amount of time from my point of view and quite a bit sizable financial risk from my point of view. We banked with Barclays for 60 odd years. My bank manager was, I guess, someone that I had a relationship with. Perhaps naively, I sort of did what he said. He was a chap with the purse strings. He had charge over all my land to give me a loan. So I take his advice very seriously. So in 2007, he came to me. He gave me a loan to cover the development, and then he came to me a couple of months later, and he was concerned that if interest rates rose, whether we'd be able to repay the loan. And at that time, as I say, I really didn't question his advice, perhaps stupidly now, and he suggested that what I needed was to get in, to have a chat with his friends at Barclays Capital. He then got in touch with these guys at Barclays Capital, who sent me an email saying, Nick, why don't you have a look at these products? There's a cap and collar and a fixed rate swap we can do for you. And within 2 weeks of this arriving, and followed by a quick illustration emailed over, somehow I had agreed at the end of a phone call with some guy down in Canary Wharf to set off on a 10-year scheme, which I couldn't get out of. And if I wanted to get out of it, it was going to cost me, over £100,000. And that was on the basis of a phone call, which, as I say, was instigated actually by a chap in Canary Wharf phoning me up in my porter cabin on the 17th of December. Clearly, I don't know what I said in that phone call, but I must have been impressed by what he told me, because I said yes at the end of it. So that got me into this swap deal. So I look back at the sort of motivations that there were. My motivation was, my bank manager had told me that he wasn't comfortable with the loan as it stood, and I needed something to do something about it. He didn't offer me to rip up the old loan and give me a fixed rate. I would have understood that. That was a loan at a fixed rate. But instead I was offered a swap with this cap, collar, and everything else trundles along. So in looking at it now, I clearly see that obviously the chap at Barclays Capital was actually selling me something, and presumably my bank manager probably got some little interbank remuneration out of it as well. It was all very nice. In 2009, I went back to them because I said, well, actually, it's not adding up, as you told me. Again, I got a very complicated email back telling me about when the loans were paid against, and the interest rates. I didn't understand that much either, but eventually it was fixed. Net result is obviously that my business hasn't done very well. I'm now paying exorbitant overdraft charges, basically to pay the swap loan, and I don't see any way out of it. I've got, until 2017, I'm stuck with it. So a bit late in the day, I came to Scott because Barclays very kindly confirmed that I wasn't sophisticated, and they invited me to into the review and to I can't remember. I think they said, "Why don't you share your recollections of the swap with their lawyers or the financial review lawyers?" And so I did. I had this 3-hour telephone conversation with a couple of lawyers and an independent reviewer. It was all recorded, and effectively, my recollections were obviously taken down and used in evidence against me, because since then they haven't really given me any information back as to what this guy at Barclays Capital did, or what my bank manager did. They've just obviously decided that my recollections seemed to fit in with what they decided was at the point of sale was acceptable. So they've told me no redress, and everything stands. So clearly, a bit late in the day, I got in touch with Scott, and we've now actually agreed a meeting with them. I've always fancied going to Canary Wharf, but I have to say I'm a little daunted by the prospect of this meeting. But at least it's a chink of light going forward.
Okay, Nick, thank you very much for that. Thank you.
Thank you.